Hey, it's me, Froggy. So this one's pretty interesting. I want to go back on the theory that I was talking about earlier where, oh, sorry, I think I hit a button. All right, I want to go back on there earlier that, hey, you get a text from JCB, it's in this state, and then now that you know what state it's in, you do your best to figure out the best spot in that state to go search, all right? So that's the kind of premise we're working here, and we're gonna do the Fenn box because I read it and some things started clicking, and you'll be the judge if it makes sense or not. So it starts out. I'm gonna proceed in the way that it flowed organically, if that makes any sense. I'm gonna speak to you, the audience, the way it came to me. All right, I think that's a little bit better. And for those of you you want the dessert first. I think I do have an area around the lake. It's not the smallest area to search, but I mean, it's better than just a state, right? So I like the Fenn box because there's only 4 states to pick, right? I don't like the Fenn box because it's I don't really get much from this poem. There's a surface layer, but that surface layer is so vague to me, and nothing else in the text jumps out at me. Up until today. All right, so here's where we go. Starting out with Wyoming, all right, because I've done Montana before and I did Colorado before. So Colorado is gun to my head. I had to pick a state. I think it's Colorado, and I still like my spot near Brown. What do they call it? Brown's Hole, the best. But we're gonna pick Wyoming because I haven't done Wyoming yet. So I'm thinking maybe my brain will make some new connections. Okay. So I like Wyoming, equality state, right? That's pretty cool. I started out with a rabbit hole. I still can't get away from, I cruised along a road I know that's a road and we're just supposed to figure it out. So there's a Japanese connection in the beginning of the text that we haven't really explored. I haven't explored. When I say we, I mean me and this YouTube channel. Because it starts out talking about how you may recall earlier in the book, like why would you even mention part 1? I mentioned that I traveled to Japan in 2016 on advice from a friend. In many ways, Japan felt like home, right? So he already talked about that. Why bring it up again? I mean, you're calling back to part 1 when you said you don't need part 1, right? You said, okay, so moving on. And then it goes on to a little bit, there's not much about Japan. It's really just that first paragraph. But I thought, what if there's a Japanese connection? The first paragraph, maybe the first couple lines. So this is a rabbit hole I'm almost embarrassed to say, but it didn't pan out, so I'll let you know. I looked up the Japanese word for no, a road I know. I'm thinking maybe there's some crazy Japanese connection in Wyoming. So in Japan, the way I guess the kanji, the written words, translate out phonetically, it's, I'm going to butcher this, shiti imasu, which is one form of I know, or it's wakarimasu. So 2 versions of I know, and wakata is another kind of no, right? There's all kind of 3 I know. So I was like, okay, let's see if there's any roads named Wakata or Wakarimasu or Shiteimasu. That led me down a pretty dark rabbit hole that made me think maybe there's not a Japanese connection. It turns out, I mean, I don't like to, again, we shouldn't whitewash history. That's a callback. We should learn from our history. If you don't learn from history, you're doomed to repeat it. That's what I tell my students. I make them repeat it every single day, like the Pledge of Allegiance. But the Wyoming has a connection to Japan. It's not the greatest one. Probably not too many kids learn about it in school. But a large internment camp was in Wyoming. All right, they took it was right north of Cody. Right, it's called the Heart Mountain Relocation Center. So that's a kind of fun, lovey name, Heart Mountain, for a not lovey, not fun thing. Right, the Japanese from California and I think Oregon were forced into one of 10, and this was one of the largest in Wyoming. So there I was like, okay, maybe JCB was leading us down this road that we're supposed to learn from the history. I mean, he does seem like a history guy, but I didn't spend too long on there. I was like, that's probably a good point, but I don't know if he's going to make that such a dark moment in history. Not that he's trying to whitewash it, right? But I don't know if he'd make that integral, crucial to a solve, right? So I kind of moved on from that. And I went back to roads. Can't get away from the roads. Major interstates in Wyoming, you got 80 east-west, 25 north-south, 90 east-west, and US Highway 30, which runs alongside 80. So if there was anything about twins or running along or follows or besides, I would think of 80 and 30. Then you have 3 other highways, US 189, US 191, and then a fun one, US 287 in Wyoming, WYO 789. That highway's got a fun history. It was part of a planned like Canada to Mexico north-south line, and it ended up, I guess funding got cut, or I didn't catch the full story, but the all the highway designators ended up getting removed except for Wyoming. Wyoming kept it. So that's a fun little fact of history, and I think that there is some history in some of the solves. It's just figuring out what piece of history, right? What's going to be the historical context that fits into the solve? Is it the roads? Is it the Japanese? I don't know. So then I took another approach, right? Because I need help with the poem, and when I say I need help, meaning I give myself help in that I'll make an assumption. I'll make an assumption and run with it, and if it doesn't lead to fruition or lead anywhere, then I'll cut it and I'll end it. But that's when I say, like, I cheat, I make assumptions. I just assume something's true to give myself a starting point, because I'm overwhelmed reading the poem. I don't have a natural place to start. Even if I just start top to bottom, like going in order, it doesn't really lead me anywhere. All right, so I cheated, I gave myself help, and I said, okay, wherever this is, it's got to be along a river. There's got to be some campgrounds along. That's a starting spot, right? It's not the best starting spot. Rivers in Wyoming, I mean, Wyoming's known for great fly fishing. There's rivers all over the place, and there's a lot of campgrounds all over it, but it is a starting spot, right? So I went through a pretty, I'm not going to brag and say exhaustive search, because it wasn't exhaustive, maybe a couple hours. And I know some people have spent months. I know some people have only spent on this box. So I apologize if I sound like I know something. That's not my intention. I realize I'm coming in, putting in a lot less man hours. I won't say work, because I think I put in work, but I'll say I put a lot less hours than other people have. Okay, moving on. So here's some notable rivers that I pulled in Wyoming, right? Yellowstone, Wind River. Wind River is off of the Bighorn River. You got the Shoshone River, Tongue River, Powder River, the Bell Forch River, Cheyenne River, Niobrara River, North Platte River, and the Laramie River, right? All those are major rivers. So I went through looking to see which ones have connections to gold, right? The Wind River and off of Bighorn. Pretty solid gold deposits found along them. They're known for having gold in them. Yellowstone is yellow. I don't like Yellowstone. Yellowstone is going to appear in a lot of these lists, and I don't like Yellowstone because, to me, it just feels too obvious. As far as rivers that have the most canyons, right? Yellowstone, Wind, Bighorn. So there's Wind and Bighorn again. Tongue River is known for being curves, a lot of rapids. Niobrara, I told you that river a while because it only comes in the far eastern side of Wyoming very briefly. So I thought, well, wouldn't that be cute to have a river that's just barely in Wyoming, and that's like a critical part. So it stayed on my list for a while. Sorry, it's still dog sitting. That's why I'm kicked out to this other room, actually. But because the dog runs the house, not me. Sad. Anyways, focus. So I slowly started crossing out lists. Cheyenne, Powder, Bella Forge, Laramie, Yellowstone. Rivers that from either too popular, too many things going up and down, or the geography wasn't right, or, I mean, it's not to be offensive, but I mean, when everything is as beautiful as Wyoming is, you kind of have to put some states, some locations, and some rivers higher up and some lower down. So here's a fun little rabbit trail I went down. I started reading through, I came across, when I was looking into Wind River. Wind River stays at the top of my list for a while. It actually came down to two. Wind River and Sweetwater River are the two rivers that stayed on top of my list for a while, and I'll tell you how I decided to split. So Wind River, it kind of goes through the Wind River Reservation, and then it kind of meets the north-south is like the Bighorn River. And if you go up Bighorn, or I guess, I mean, not really go up. I can go north because the water flows south, obviously. But if you go north, you meet a town, Thermopolis. And Thermopolis was named as, well, I forget actually why it's called Thermopolis in the Greek. But the town, Thermopolis in Wyoming, has hot springs there. And that's kind of why they named it there. I apologize, I didn't do a complete deep dive to see if there's other connections to Greece. I didn't find Greece connections in the chapter. But I thought, wouldn't that be fun if Warm Water, or the Warm Waters Halt, is a callback to Thermopolis? So because I'm already in Wind River, you follow Wind River down, and then you go up. And here's where it gets really exciting. I was like, man, I haven't found anything with brown yet. That's one of the reasons why I crossed off Tongue River, because it's known for the brown trout, and it was a really popular, from what I've read, again, I'm not an expert, a lot of people had good solids for Fenn along the Tongue River. A lot of early people in this hunt were talking about Tongue River and some of the spots off there. So I kind of avoided that just because I feel like other people will already have really good solids for it, and I kind of went to something a little different. But Wind River goes by Fort Washakie, which is we're inside the Wind River Reservation, and Fort Washakie used to be called Camp Brown. So I thought that's pretty cool because there's a historical connection, right? I'm always looking for a historical connection. I'm looking for a few things when I do a solve: historical connection, some wordplay, some riddles, and then has to be a beautiful spot, beautiful scene, an iconic view that's nearby. So I'm like, man, this is a pretty cool historical site. Army Camp Brown. Then it got named after a chief, Washakie, to kind of honor an elder and kind of take away a little bit of the stain that the American military did and how they treated the Indians over there, the natives. So I thought that's pretty cool. Wind River is going to go right by on the north side of Fort Washakie, and then it'll go to Thermopolis. The scale's large. We're talking like a state scale. Normally, when I'm looking at these clues, I'm looking at a very smaller scale. But it didn't end up coming to anything because I couldn't find anything for the rest of that. So I kind of moved away from that section. As a matter of fact, the more I looked into the Wind River, I'm getting excited. Let me calm down. The more I look into Wind River Reservation, I had a speech impediment when I was younger. It used to be really bad when I was really excited. My L's and W's would be hard. I'd get them mixed up, and then I just couldn't get a word out, especially with a W. If I was really excited and trying to start a sentence with a W, I would just stutter. It comes back every once in a while, but I've just learned to take a breath and calm down. So if you have a speech impediment, if you're a kid watching this, maybe you'll grow out of it. I got lucky. I won't say lucky. No such thing as luck. I got blessed and learned some things to deal with it. Okay, anyways, going back to Wind River, I started looking outside the reservation, which would mean I looked northwest if you're looking on a map. And here's where I ended up, outside the town Dubois, around Ray Lake, because I started looking for, not only am I looking for a river, not only am I looking for a campground, I'm looking for some place with a lot of trails, not just one or two trails, because that'd be too easy if the poem led you to a park and then you found the campgrounds that are nearby. I would feel like you need a trail, and there wouldn't be just one or two trails. There'd be a good amount of trailheads to kind of figure it out. In my mind, again, I'm cheating. I'm making assumptions and I'm running with them until I reach a brick wall, or until someone goes out there and it's like, man, this place is terrible. There's no way you can hide anything here. So I kind of dropped the spoiler there. Ray Lake, I still get along with, I can't get away from the roads, so it's US 26 is right around Asheville. It goes right through the town. Statesville, also of where he grew up, is the US 26 there. So I'm still using that connection. I've been trying to get away from it. I just can't. Maybe next week I'll get away from it. I apologize. It's the best I can come up with that line. I cruise along a road I know. I even messed around with EYE, I know, I'm like, okay, there's some Y's. Yellowstone. If you take EYE, you end up with Lowstone. So you have Lowstone. There's another Y in Cheyenne. If you take away EYE, you're left with Chen. I don't know. I was trying to force something there. I didn't really get too much out of it. Thought I'd share. So if you're looking along Ray Lake, right, you've got you know, a bunch of campgrounds along there. It's you've got the Long Creek, and you've also got Warm Spring Creek. Now, I didn't get too excited over Warm Spring Creek because there's a lot of warm themed bodies of water in Wyoming, in all the Rocky States, as a matter of fact. You've got Warm Creek, you've got Hot Spring Creek, but so this is Warm Spring Creek, which maybe you put a little bit more weight behind it because it starts with warm. But if you start from the bottom, you've got Warm Spring Creek down here, then you've got US 20, then you've got what's it called, Long Creek, and then you've got a tributary from Wind River that flows into a bigger Wind River, and then eventually goes into Bighorn. So I'll put up some maps. I don't know if I'll put the maps up on this video because I'm still working on it, and I've got some travel. I'm going camping along the Appalachian Trail, but it's not along a place I have a solve for. It's in Maryland. This is a pre-planned trip. I go with my dad and a few other guys, and we have a good time. I'll probably hike along the Appalachian Trail at some point just to experience the trail, get familiar with blazes. I might post a video, but it'll be with the disclaimer that I don't think this is a serious solve. I mean, it'd be crazy if I found something here because zero things point to the area that I'm going. Okay, yeah, so that's the close to the end of this video. I just want to get something out there real quick. We're looking at Brooks Lake. Hold on, let me, where's my other phone? You know what, I don't have a setup. We can go mobile. That's the perks of not having my full setup here, right? You'll get to see more of the living room. We're making this up as we go along. That's what we do best around here. I hope you guys have been enjoying the interviews. You know, I'm getting a little bit more comfortable doing them, trying to get rid of the uhs as I speak, trying to develop a script there, and hopefully we can get some big names. A big name with a 3-letter John, possibly. Okay, what am I looking up? I'm looking up Brooks Lake in Wyoming. Yeah, so sorry, I misspoke earlier. I said Ray's Lake, so hopefully somebody didn't just stop the video and run off, because Ray's Lake was another lake that I looked at, but I don't like it as much as Brooks Lake. So that's my #1 spot. I want to keep doing keep looking into this because I'm getting pretty excited about Wyoming. Still like Colorado the best, but if I were to summarize, you've got a road I know, right? So you've got 26 that runs just south. Where's my scale? How far south? 300 feet? 500? 5,000 feet? Where's a mile? That runs, okay, well, it's more diagonal. About 3 kilometers. What's that, like a mile? You've got, so US Highway 26, that's like a mile south of this lake, Brooks Lake, that we're talking about. There's campgrounds all along it. You've got multiple trails that run all along it, especially on the west side. Tons of trails. I think, here's some trail names. You've got Yellowstone Trail, Bonneville, Cutoff, Bonneville Trail, Du Nord Trail, Jade Lake Trail. Again, so many. This is a really beautiful area. The pictures look great. Pinnacle Trail. So you've got Brooks Lake Creek, and so let's see, that connects to Wind River. Right beneath it, like I said, Highway 26, and then beneath that, you run into Warm Spring Lake. It's not too far from Grand Teton National Park. Oh, the other thing that was cool is the Continental Divide is pretty close to there. All right, so again, a lot of things that kind of, I missed the reason why I said campground, in case you missed it, was I said this in an earlier video, not this video, but I believe that the Camper's Blaze, or Campground Blaze, is a physical marker that has the lambda signal that shows campground, right? It's like a little lambda. Normally it's white on a brown metal sign. So I think that's a sign. So one of the trails you'll need to is right off of a Camper's Blaze. That's what I have for that. looking at the map right now, well, actually, I just didn't know this until right now. So earlier we talked about Fort Washakie, which is in the Indian River, Wind River Indian Reservation, which again, I moved away from because you're not allowed to do a lot of things there. It's a reservation. I should have picked up on that earlier, but I doubt that he would have hit it on a reservation. But there is a Washakie Wilderness that's right above Brooks Lake. So again, too long, didn't read. The main summary is I'm looking at Brooks Lake is kind of the area we're looking in Wyoming. Nothing like groundbreaking pointing me here. It's more just noticing correlations with words and process of elimination. And I don't know, if you're a little bit skeptical, you could say it's kind of weak, or I'm just guessing. Now I would just say I'm sort of am, but sort of not. I mean, I have some reasons for here. But anyways, Washakie Wilderness is right above this. So it's the Teton Wilderness and Washakie Wilderness. I'm looking at it on the map right above Brooks Lake. So I do like the history of Washakie because we have time and because I'm right here. I'll read it out to you so you don't have to do it later. Washakie, should I look at Pete? So prominent leader of the Shoshone people during the mid-19th century. All right. So I mean, that's pretty good. Yeah, Native American leader for this region. Apparently, he knew Brigham Young. Off and on again, treaties. The U.S. broke some of them. Surprise, surprise. But recognized by his peers, by Native Americans, and by the U.S. Army, prowess of battle. He's apparently he was pretty prominent in leading for peace later. But yeah, again, so here 1878 U.S. Army outpost. Used to be called Camp Brown. Now it's called Fort Washakie. So I don't know how close we're supposed to get when it says by a place, right? When we pass by there. I mean, is that the trail goes right by there? Is that the highway goes by there? Is that you look on a map and it's by there? I don't know. We don't really have a sense of scale yet. But that's going to be it for this video. It's like I said, Brooks Lake. We're looking in an area. Take a peek if you want. If you're into the Fenn stuff, if you're into the Wyoming stuff, let me know what you think. I'll try to dig some more in there. I'll try to post some maps up there. I just love playing around with maps. But all right, guys, that's it for this one. Sorry, I guess, for the quality. I mean the production quality. I don't know. It's kind of just made up for this one. But I don't know. You want to see the dog? Since we're just like playing around here. Can I flip the camera? I don't know. Just do this. Hey, Dallas. Dallas, stop licking your foot. All right. Well, his foot's itching. He's licking it, and I gotta put a spray on it to get him to stop. All right. Bye.